Depression is a mood disorder that involves a persistent feeling of sadness, which could lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. It can affect anyone at almost any age. Yes, it could affect adults, children, and teenagers alike. Without treatment, depression can get worse and last longer. In severe cases, it can lead to self-harm or death. Research has proved strong links have been seen between parenting and depression. Yes, you heard me right. Parents can be a source of depression. Join me after the break as we look at how we parents can actually make our children depressed. Thank you. Welcome back. My name is Julie on Expression. Before the break, I made mention of the fact that parents could actually be a source of depression for the children. Remember what I said that depression is? And the truth about the matter is that depression is here. We have been in denial, but the truth is, a lot of us parents, a lot of us children, a lot of us teenagers actually have that problem. It's a mental problem, and sometimes we don't tend to notice that it's actually a problem, but it is. That feeling of sadness that you are overwhelmed with, as if you are no longer interested in what is going on earth, you're no longer interested in anything as a student in your studies, you're not interested, and gradually you begin to think about all sorts of things, and even suicide. And we've had cases of students committing suicide as a result of depression. And I also mentioned that parents can actually, or parenting, let me put it that way, can actually be a source of depression for the children. Now, I'm very particular about the children, probably because I work with them, and I need us parents to realize that we could actually be a source of their depression. Now, how? I'm sure that's what is going on in your head. But let's look at it this way. First, there are some parents who are actually psychologically controlling. What do I mean by that? The parents tend to control everything. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to, you don't have your child, shouldn't be able to control your child to a certain, I mean over controlling. Some parents can actually be over controlling. Take for instance when a child does something wrong. We're so overly strict and we condemn that child, we shame the child. There are some parents who actually make it a point of duty to even bring that child to school and shame the child before the assembly. Now, this is meant to be a correcting measure, but does it really do that? Now, when you do that to a child, when you are always criticizing a child, you're always comparing her with the others, probably with her own siblings or those who are doing better than he or she. We tend to do something psychologically to that child. And believe me, we're destroying that child. Remember, parents, we are humans and we are not perfect. Yes, when we were growing up, our parents used to tell us, I was coming first in my class. I was coming first. Virtually all the parents were coming first in their class. Can we be a little more realistic with our children? Can we be honest with them? Share our own experience with them. That way, we're balanced. We don't make it look like we were perfect because we never were. And these children are not perfect. Far from it. We're bringing them up to be good individuals, and so we must be patient with them. So when we shame them and criticize whatever it is they do, we're actually bringing them down. And what it does is to affect them psychologically. The child becomes depressed. She doesn't feel she's useful to she can't do anything right. Now, I want to share my experience with you as a teacher and a tutor. Because once I was having a chat with a student of mine who wasn't doing well academically. I actually saw some prospects in this child, but she just wasn't interested. And I had to ask her why. You know what she told me? That she can never do well in her life, no matter what she does. That's sad, isn't it? And I kept on prodding. She told me that her mother said she could never do well. I mean, how can a parent say that to a child? Now, once you say that, you have condemned that child. You've made the child, because whatever you say as a parent registers even more than any other person would say. And when we give our children, we abuse them, we say all sorts of things without knowing it, we're actually making them, if you call your child a fool, that child will believe he or she is a fool and will never do well. Now, when you tell your child you are no good, that child psychologically will begin to believe that she's a no good. And we're not helping that child that way. Remember, we are all humans and we make mistakes. When a child makes mistake, we should be patient with that child. We should make that child feel, okay, you didn't do it well this time, but there's also another opportunity. You can get it right. Now, the story I was telling you about this child that said her mother told her that she was no good. I had to call the mother to order. And then, of course, I had to start talking with the child. Such children actually need psychological help. Maybe they need to see a psychology, or they even need to see a career counselor or something, a guidance counselor who could actually talk the child out of that feeling. Please, parents, if you have been doing that, please stop. Now, some other thing that could cause a child to be depressed is an unhappy home. When we as parents are not united, our children are watching us. And the truth is, they are not happy. When you're always fighting, the spouse they're always on loggerheads, there's no joy at home, that child will always look for an opportunity to get out of the home. And when she sees or he sees other children who are from happy homes, she feels depressed. He feels that, you can't just imagine the kind of feeling that goes on in the mind of that child. At a point, that child will feel, I'm not useful here, and may decide to take his or her own life. So how can we help our children not to get to this stage? By not to be overly controlling. And when we set standards for these children, please, when you're setting standards, for instance, you know your child will not be able to get 75%. Can you lower your expectation a bit? Just a bit. Let's not expect too much when we know that child does not have the capability to get to that target. Can we look at each child individually and decide, okay, this child can do this, and then you set your expectations for that child. But let's not overdo it, because when we set very high standards, the children either begin to do, you're forcing them to actually do a lot of things, probably cheating in school and doing all sorts of things just to get to that target that the parents have set. And when you don't get to that target, what happens? They become depressed. So please, once again, I want to crave your indulgence to treat your children with some kind of patience, respect, and also have at the back of your mind that everyone makes mistakes, and we learn from our mistakes. You made mistakes, I did. And so when we're parenting, we should also have that at the back of our mind. Our children will definitely make mistakes, and let them learn from it. Instead of shaming them, we should support them and encourage them. That way, they'll pick up the pieces and move on. Now, I made mention that parents who are controlling are prone to make their children depressed. And that's a fact. Because children of psychologically controlling parents are prone to suffer from lack of self-esteem. Now, when you make a child to believe that he's a nobody, that he's a no good, that child will not have self-esteem, and that child will not do well. Definitely not even make an effort to do well in life. So please, let's desist from doing that. And also, let's encourage our children. Whenever they do make mistakes, let's help them get up and start all over again. Yes, we know that there are other sources of depression, but at least the one we as parents can control. Let's do something about it. If you found this video educative and you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do that. Click the like button and the bell button for notifications. Thank you.